Hello, my name is Michael Chavez, and I'm part of this biology class. And I decided to do my project on calcium. Calcium is a very important mineral in human metabolism, making up about 1 to 2% of an adult human body's body weight. In addition to its widely known role in bone structure, calcium is used to help control muscle and nerve function, as well as to manage acid base balance in our bloodstream. From this very simple description, you can see how calcium rich foods can play a role in many aspects that extend far beyond the specific area of bone health. While the most common problem related to calcium metabolism is undoubtedly bone loss from getting too little calcium, there can be problems when intake of this nutrient gets too high as well. Excess calcium can deposit in places where it doesn't belong, including blood vessels and the kidneys. There is still some debate about how much of a problem this is for the average adult, but at this time, most nutrition experts agree that excess dietary calcium is very unlikely, and probably the result of a diet that is largely dependent upon dairy foods. At any given time, about 99% of our total body calcium stores are found in bones and teeth. This calcium plays a critical role in maintaining structural integrity of our skeleton. While calcium is the most critical nutrient to skeletal health, other nutrients provide important support to help absorb and use calcium in the bones. These nutrients include vitamin D, vitamin K, and magnesium. It may sound counterintuitive, but bone is very metabolically active tissue, with bone being built and broken down constantly. When our dietary calcium levels are too low, we pull calcium from the bones to keep the blood levels close to constant. As long as we correct this imbalance more days than not, this borrowing and returning process works very well. But if we do more borrowing from than replenishing to our calcium stores, bone can become dangerously weak. In some sense, this gives us flexibility with our diets. In other words, we do not have to get a full supply of calcium each day, as long as we reach our goals most days. As long as your diet contains a wide variety of the foods on our world's healthiest food list, we believe that your calcium intake should be sufficient to maintain strong bones. Note that we tend to think of low bone mineral density, or osteoporosis, as a disease of the elderly. While it is true that the bone fractures that occur tend to be in older adults, the damage that leads to osteoporosis can start very early with poor dietary choices during childhood and adolescence. In fact, the preteen and teen years are arguably the most critical time to meet dietary calcium needs, as nearly 40% of total adult bone mass is established between the ages of 10 and 15 years. Unlike most other nutrients where deficiency is defined by an amount below which a deficiency syndrome emerges, calcium deficiency has been defined as an intake amount below that are required to prevent net daily calcium loss. For most adults, this amount is 300 to 400 milligrams of absorbable calcium per day. Because dairy calcium is absorbed at about 30% of total calcium, this means that amounts around 900 to 1,200 milligrams per day are enough to offset the daily loss of this mineral. Because children and adolescents are actively depositing new bone at a rapid clip, just getting enough calcium to offset losses is not enough. Depending on the age of the child, up to an extra 400 milligrams of dietary calcium may be necessary to keep up with bone growth.